Ethan's boots crunched against the soft silver sand as he stepped out of his small survey craft. The sky above was not blue like Earth, but a deep shade of violet that shimmered faintly, as if dusted with millions of tiny stars. He had landed on a planet far from human space, a world that appeared uninhabited and quiet. For weeks, his sensors had detected no signs of life, only strange energy readings that pulled him here. He was a human explorer, trained to be calm in dangerous situations. Yet even he felt a shiver run down his spine. He checked the readings on his handheld scanner. The energy spikes were stronger than anything he had ever seen. A ruined city lay ahead, partially buried under dunes of metallic sand. Towering structures, twisted and cracked, rose like the skeleton of a giant creature. Strange symbols etched into the walls glowed faintly. Ethan's curiosity overcame caution. He adjusted his backpack, tightened the straps, and started toward the city. Every step felt heavy. The air was thin, almost like it carried a faint electricity. He had studied alien worlds before, but this was different. The buildings seemed almost alive, their metallic surfaces humming softly as if responding to his presence. Ethan remembered his grandfather's words, "The universe is full of surprises. But the ones that surprise you most are the ones that think you are nothing." He shivered, realizing he might be exactly that, a tiny human in a vast unknown world. Ethan reached the city gates, what was left of them. Giant arches had crumbled, leaving jagged edges pointing at the sky. As he stepped inside, his eyes widened. The streets were covered in glass-like structures that reflected the violet sky. Strange machines, some small, some enormous, were scattered everywhere, half buried in sand. They looked like they had been abandoned for centuries. Then he saw her. A figure moved gracefully between the ruins. She was unlike anything Ethan had ever seen. Her skin shimmered like liquid sapphire, and faint markings glowed along her arms and neck. Her eyes were large, golden, and intelligent. She wore a flowing robe of silver fabric that seemed to float around her as she walked. Ethan froze. The alien was beautiful, elegant, and completely aware of him. She stopped suddenly, as if sensing him fully. Her golden eyes widened, and her body stiffened. She stared at him in silence. Then she whispered, barely audible, "You? You can't be real." Ethan frowned. "Excuse me," he said, though his voice sounded small against the vast emptiness of the ruins. The alien didn't answer. She turned and began to retreat, her movements cautious but swift. Ethan felt an urge to follow. Something about her reaction, fear, shock, made him curious. He moved quietly, careful not to startle her further as he followed. He noticed a strange device lying half buried in the sand. It was circular, made of a dark, metallic material, and it pulsed with a soft blue light. Ethan bent down and touched it carefully. The moment his fingers made contact, the device hummed louder and the light brightened. He stepped back, startled but fascinated. The device seemed to react to him specifically. As if recognizing him, Liara, he later learned her name, glanced over her shoulder, noticing his interest in the device. Her expression softened slightly, though caution still lingered in her golden eyes. "Don't touch that," she said firmly, though her voice had a musical tone. "It's not meant for your kind." Ethan held his hands up in surrender. "I mean no harm. I just want to understand." She studied him for a long moment, then nodded slightly. "Follow me, but stay where I can see you. Do not touch anything else." Curiosity burned inside Ethan as he followed her through the ruins. She led him to a large chamber in the center of the city. The walls were covered in glowing symbols, some of them moving like they were alive. At the center stood a pedestal, upon which rested a translucent sphere that shimmered with light. Ethan approached cautiously. "This is incredible," he whispered. The sphere responded to his voice, pulsing with brighter light. Liara watched him, her expression unreadable. "Do you know what that is?" she asked. "No, I can't even guess," Ethan admitted. "It is a memory of my people," she said. "It holds knowledge, history, and prophecies. Only one like you can interact with it fully." Ethan's heart skipped a beat. Like me? What do you mean? Lyra's eyes narrowed. She stepped closer and studied him intently. Her golden gaze fell on a faint scar that ran across his shoulder, partially hidden beneath his suit. She froze completely. The soft hum of the chamber seemed too quiet, and she whispered the words again, this time trembling slightly. You can't be real? Ethan felt a chill. What's wrong with my scar? He asked, confused. Liara's voice was barely audible. It shouldn't exist. Not on your kind. Before Ethan could ask more, the chamber trembled. A low rumble ran through the ruins. Dust fell from the cracked ceiling. Liara grabbed his arm. You must leave this place for now, she said urgently. It's not safe here, and others. They will come. Others. Who? Ethan asked, but she had already started moving toward another passage. He had no choice but to follow, his mind racing with questions. The passage was narrow and dark, leading deep under the city. Strange lights pulsed along the walls, illuminating ancient machinery that Ethan had never seen before. As they moved, Liara explained in halting words. Long ago, my people encountered humans. On a battlefield far from here, only one human survived. A human with a mark like yours. Ethan's stomach tightened. You're saying, I'm connected to your people? She nodded slowly. You were foretold. You carry the mark of the chosen. No one thought you would appear. Not now, not in this time. The rumbling grew louder. Ethan realized the city was unstable, perhaps collapsing after centuries of neglect. Why me? I'm just an explorer, he said, his voice small. Liara turned to him, her golden eyes full of intensity. You are not just an explorer. You are special. Your kind has qualities my people do not fully understand. Courage, creativity, the ability to act when others hesitate. You are what the prophecy calls for. Ethan struggled to comprehend her words. A prophecy? I don't even know your language, let alone your history. You will learn, she said softly. If we survive this, you will understand everything. But first, we must leave. The passage opened into a large cavern beneath the city. Strange machines lined the walls, their purpose unknown. In the center was a hovering platform. Liara motioned for him to step on it. Hesitant, Ethan obeyed. The platform lifted smoothly, carrying them up through the cavern and into a vertical shaft that led to the surface. When they emerged, the view took Ethan's breath away. The ruined city spread beneath them, with mountains of metal rising like towers. Beyond the city, the planet stretched into deserts of silver sand, forests of glowing plants, and rivers of liquid light. Ethan had never seen anything like it. Why did your people leave this place? He asked, still trying to catch his breath. Liara looked down, her eyes distant. A great danger came. My people scattered to survive. Only a few remained, guarding the knowledge of our ancestors. And now, you are here. You may be the one who can help us face what is coming. Ethan swallowed hard. The weight of her words pressed on him. He had been trained for dangerous missions, but this was beyond anything he had imagined. He looked at Liara, who seemed calm, confident, and yet fearful at the same time. You're telling me my scar means something? He asked quietly. Liara's golden eyes met his. It means you are real. And it means the universe has not finished with you yet. For the first time in his life, Ethan felt both fear and excitement. The universe was vast, full of unknowns, but somehow, he felt that he had just taken the first step into a destiny far greater than he had ever dreamed of. The platform descended to a cliff overlooking the ruins. The wind carried strange scents and a faint hum of ancient power. Ethan stepped off carefully. Liara gestured for him to wait. Tomorrow, she said softly, I will show you the sanctuary. You will begin to understand who you are and why you are here. Ethan nodded, staring at the scar on his shoulder. It no longer felt like just a mark from an accident in his childhood. It was a key that had brought him to this alien world. and perhaps a key to the survival of a people he had never even met. As the violet sky deepened into night, Ethan and Liara stood together on the cliff, silent but connected. The stars above seemed closer than ever, and somewhere deep inside, Ethan felt the stirrings of something extraordinary. The adventure had just begun. The next morning, Ethan woke under the soft light of the violet dawn. The alien world looked different in the morning sun. The glowing plants in the nearby forests shimmered like jewels, and the ruins below reflected sunlight in dazzling patterns. Ethan's mind was still full of questions about Liara, the scar on his shoulder, and the strange device that had pulsed when he touched it. Liara waited for him at the cliff's edge, her golden eyes calm and unreadable. She gestured for him to follow. "We must go to the sanctuary," she said. "There you will begin to understand who you are, and why you are here." The journey was not long, but it felt otherworldly. They walked across silver sands that seemed to hum softly beneath their feet. Strange creatures darted between glowing trees, their forms translucent, almost like living light. Ethan could feel the energy of the planet pulsing through him, but he forced himself to focus. He needed answers. Finally, they arrived at a hidden valley surrounded by jagged cliffs. At the center was a structure unlike anything Ethan had seen. It was a vast building made of glass-like material that reflected the violet sky. Strange symbols floated around its surface, slowly shifting like flowing water. This was the sanctuary Liara had mentioned. Inside, the air was cool and smelled faintly metallic. The walls were covered with holographic displays that flickered with images and words Ethan could not read. Liara led him to the center, where a large platform hovered above the ground. On it was a device similar to the one he had touched the day before, but this one was far more complex. "This is the archive," Liara explained. "It holds the memories and knowledge of my people. Only those with your mark can interact fully with it." Ethan swallowed hard. "My mark? The scar?" "Yes," Liara said. "That scar is not ordinary. It is the mark of the chosen human. Long ago, our people encountered humans on a distant battlefield. Only one survived a deadly attack, and he bore this same mark. Your scar matches his exactly. You are him, or at least his descendant, chosen by fate." Ethan felt a chill. He had always thought his scar was just from a childhood accident. Now it seemed to carry meaning he could not begin to understand. Liara gestured for him to place his hand on the device. Hesitant, Ethan obeyed. The moment his fingers touched the smooth surface, light flowed through him. Holographic images appeared around them, showing battles, alien cities, and humans he had never met. He saw people working together, using their ingenuity to overcome challenges that seemed impossible. "These are the memories of the first encounter," Liara said softly. "Your ancestors fought bravely. Your kind's courage and creativity saved lives when nothing else could. That is why the prophecy speaks of a human with this mark." Ethan watched, fascinated. He saw a human warrior bearing the same scar as him, standing against enemies far stronger and more advanced than themselves. The human's actions had turned the tide of battle, saving countless lives. Ethan felt a strange connection to the figure. It was as if the courage of this ancient human flowed through him. "Why now?" Ethan asked. "Why am I here, on this planet, after all this time?" Lyra's expression darkened. "Because the threat is returning. Long ago, our enemies were defeated, but not destroyed. They wait in the shadows, and soon they will rise again. Only a human like you can help us confront them. Your creativity, your ability to think differently, it is what we need to survive." Ethan's mind raced. He had trained for dangerous missions, but facing an unknown enemy capable of threatening an entire civilization was beyond anything he had imagined. Yet, he felt a spark inside him, a mix of fear and determination. Liara continued, "My people have guarded the knowledge of our ancestors for centuries, waiting for the chosen human to appear. That human is you." Ethan looked down at his scar, tracing its faint curve with his fingers. "All my life, I thought this was just an accident," he said quietly. "I never imagined it could mean." It is not just a mark," Liara said. It is a symbol of hope, of survival. And it carries a connection you cannot yet understand. That connection will guide you when the time comes. As Ethan absorbed her words, a sudden vibration ran through the sanctuary. The walls shivered, and the light of the holograms flickered. Lyra's eyes sharpened. "They are coming," she said. "The danger approaches faster than we anticipated." Ethan's heart pounded. "Who is coming?" Lyra turned to him, her expression serious. "Those who wish to destroy all life that opposes them. They are powerful, intelligent, and relentless. Only by working together, humans and my people, can we hope to survive." The ground shook beneath them, and Ethan realized that the sanctuary itself was built to detect threats. Machines along the walls activated, glowing with a soft blue light. Ethan felt a strange sensation, as if the planet itself was aware of their presence. Lyra guided him to a smaller chamber within the sanctuary. "Here you will learn to connect with the archive. You must understand our history, our technology, and our strategies. Only then will you be ready to face what is coming." Ethan nodded, trying to steady his racing thoughts. He reached out and touched the central device again. This time, the light flowed through him more smoothly. He felt knowledge and memories filling his mind, visions of alien cities, advanced technology, and battles fought long before he was born. He understood things he could not have imagined, and yet it felt natural, as if the knowledge was always part of him. Lyra watched him carefully. "You see now why the scar matters? It is more than a mark. It is a key. It allows you to access what no other human could, and through you, we may find a way to survive." Hours passed as Ethan absorbed the lessons of the archive. He saw how humans had once worked with Lyra's people to overcome impossible odds. He learned strategies for defense, survival, and communication. And with every vision, he felt a growing confidence. He was not just a human far from home. He was part of something greater. Finally, he withdrew his hand from the device. "I understand now," he said. "I can help." Lyra nodded, a rare smile crossing her face. "Yes, but understanding is only the first step. You must also act, and soon we will be tested." Before they could speak further, the sanctuary shook again. Alarms echoed through the halls, and the light of the holograms flickered violently. Ethan and Lyra ran toward the main chamber, where the source of the disturbance was revealed. A group of alien drones, dark and sleek, were approaching the sanctuary. They moved with precision and aggression. Their purpose clear, they sought to destroy everything in their path. Ethan's heart raced. "What are those?" he asked. "They are scouts," Lyra said, "sent ahead by our enemies. They will attack if we do not act." Ethan's mind worked quickly. He noticed that the drone's energy signatures were similar to the devices in the city. Perhaps he could use the archive to interfere with them. He placed his hand on the central device again, focusing. The holograms responded, and the machines along the walls activated. Ethan guided the energy through the systems, redirecting it toward the drones. With a flash of light, the drones faltered. Their movements slowed, and one by one they shut down, falling silently to the ground. Lyra's eyes widened in amazement. You did that?" she asked. Ethan nodded, breathless. "I think I can control the energy here, at least enough to stop them." Lyra's golden eyes met his. "You are more than we ever imagined. Your kind, your courage, your creativity, it is what saves us." For the first time, Ethan understood what she had meant. Humans were different, capable of seeing solutions where others saw only danger. He felt a sense of pride, not an arrogance, but in knowing that his presence here mattered. As the last drone fell silent, Lyra stepped closer. "Tomorrow, I will show you the rest of the sanctuary," she said, "and we will begin preparing for the real threat." "You are ready to learn more about your destiny," Ethan nodded, looking out over the alien landscape. The sun of this strange world glinted off the silver sand, and he felt a new determination rising within him. He was far from home in a world he barely understood, but he was not powerless. With Lyra by his side and the knowledge of the archive, he could face whatever came next. The scar on his shoulder no longer felt like a burden or a memory of a childhood accident. It was a symbol of hope, of courage, and of the connection between humans and this ancient alien civilization. He had been chosen for a reason, and now he was ready to embrace it. The adventure was far from over. The real challenge, the one foretold by the prophecy, was yet to come. And Ethan knew that when the time came, he would not face it alone. He glanced at Liara, her golden eyes shining with quiet determination. Together, they would uncover the secrets of the past, confront the threats of the present, and prepare for a future that depended on their courage, their intelligence, and the special qualities that made humans extraordinary. The sky over the alien world had turned a deep violet as night approached. Ethan stood on a cliff overlooking the valley where the sanctuary rested, his heart pounding. He had spent days learning the secrets of the archive, absorbing the history, technology, and strategy of Leora's people. Yet now, with the first signs of the approaching threat, he felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. Liara stood beside him, her golden eyes calm but alert. "The scouts were only the beginning," she said softly. "The main force will arrive soon. We must be ready." Ethan nodded, adjusting his backpack and checking his gear. "I understand. But what can I do? I've never faced anything like this before." "You're not just a human," Liara said, her gaze meeting his. "You are the chosen. Your kind has strengths that my people do not fully understand. Your creativity, your courage, your unpredictability. These are weapons more powerful than any technology." Ethan swallowed hard. He had never thought of himself as extraordinary. He was just an explorer, an ordinary human. But looking at Liara, seeing her confidence in him, he felt a spark of determination. He would not let her down. The sound came first, a low rumble that shook the cliffs and the sanctuary below. Ethan and Liara both froze. In the distance, dark shapes moved across the silver sands, their forms sleek, mechanical, and menacing. "The enemy had arrived. They are faster than we expected," Liara said. "We need to lead them into the city. The ruins contain defenses that can help us." Ethan nodded. "Show me the way." Together, they raced down the cliff, moving swiftly through narrow passages and broken streets. As they ran, Ethan noticed how the city seemed to respond to them. Machines embedded in the ruins activated at their presence, glowing softly, as if the city itself recognized the chosen human. When they reached the main square, Ethan stopped. The enemy had surrounded the area. Hundreds of drones moved with precise coordination, their eyes glowing red as they scanned for targets. Ethan's heart pounded, but he forced himself to think. He had learned from the archive, and he knew that his human mind could find solutions in ways the aliens could not. "Here's the plan," Liara said, drawing a diagram in the sand. "The city contains ancient defense systems. If we can reactivate them, we can trap the enemy. You will need to guide the energy through the channels. Only a human can do it properly." Ethan studied the diagram. "I think I understand," he said. "Let's do this." Liara led him to a central control hub, where a large device hummed softly. Ethan placed his hands on it, feeling the energy flowed through him. The knowledge from the archive surged in his mind, guiding his actions. He redirected power through the city's defenses, activating turrets, energy barriers, and hidden traps. The enemy drones moved closer, but the defenses responded with precision. A flash of light, burst of energy, and the first wave of drones was disabled. Ethan's heart raced. He could feel the city's energy flowing through him, responding to his thoughts and commands. The aliens watching him gasped in amazement. "You're incredible," Liara said, her voice filled with awe. "Your kind, your mind. It is unlike anything we have ever seen." Ethan didn't have time to respond. Another wave of drones approached, faster and more coordinated than the first. He focused, remembering the images from the archive. Humans had always found ways to adapt, to think differently, to see solutions others missed. He adjusted the energy flow, creating a trap that funneled the drones into a narrow canyon. One by one, they were immobilized. The aliens cheered quietly, their confidence growing. Liara stepped forward, her golden eyes shining. "This is only the beginning," she said. "The enemy will not stop. We must prepare for their leader." Ethan nodded, feeling a strange mixture of fear and excitement. He had faced incredible danger, yet he felt alive in a way he never had before. Humans were underestimated across the galaxy, but here, on this alien world, he realized that his species' creativity, courage, and adaptability could turn the tide of battle. As the last of the drones fell, a larger shadow appeared on the horizon. A massive figure, taller than any machine Ethan had ever seen, moved with terrifying precision. This was the enemy leader, a mechanical being of incredible power, surrounded by smaller drones that formed a protective swarm. Lyra's eyes widened. "That is the one who destroyed our people centuries ago," she said. "We cannot defeat it with force alone. You must act." Ethan felt the weight of the moment. His mind raced, searching for a solution. He remembered the archive's lessons, the strategies of humans long ago, and the way they had used creativity to overcome impossible odds. A plan began to form. He turned to Lyra. "I need access to the city's main energy core. If I can overload it at the right moment, I can disable the leader and its drones." Lyra nodded. "Then go. I will hold them off." Ethan ran through the ruins, dodging enemy attacks and using the city's defenses to his advantage. The energy core was massive, glowing with a soft blue light. He placed his hands on it, feeling the power surge through him. Memories of humans from the archive filled his mind. Heroes who had faced impossible challenges and survived through ingenuity. He focused, redirecting the energy, creating a precise overload. Sparks flew and the ground shook as the leader advanced. Ethan held his concentration, feeling the pulse of the city respond to his commands. The enemy leader reached the square, but at the perfect moment, Ethan released the energy. A massive pulse surged through the city, disabling the leader and its swarm. Silence fell. Dust floated in the air. The enemy was defeated. The aliens stared in shock and awe at the human who had turned the tide of battle. Lyra approached, her golden eyes filled with pride and amazement. You have done what no one else could. You are truly extraordinary." Ethan looked around at the alien city, at the glowing plants, the machines, and the people who had trusted him. He realized that humans were not weak or ordinary. They were capable of creativity, courage, and intelligence that could change the course of history. "You did it," Lyra said softly. "You saved us all." Ethan shook his head. "We did it, together." The aliens began to celebrate quietly, though they remained wary of future threats. Lyra led Ethan to a high cliff overlooking the valley. The ruins stretched below, bathed in the soft glow of the alien night. "You see now," Lyra said, touching his shoulder gently, "why the prophecy spoke of a human. Your kind is special. You think differently, act differently, and see possibilities that others do not. That is what saved us today." Ethan looked at the scar on his shoulder, now glowing faintly in the moonlight. It was no longer just a mark from a childhood accident. It was a symbol of hope, of courage, and of the connection between humans and this alien civilization. "I never knew humans could be this important," he said quietly. Lyra smiled. "We have always known, but it took the chosen human to remind us. You are more than what we imagined. You are real. And you are here?" Ethan felt a surge of pride. Not in arrogance, but in understanding. Humans were underestimated across the galaxy, but here, on this distant world, they had proven their worth. He had proven his worth. The night was quiet, the stars shimmering brightly in the violet sky. Ethan and Lyra stood together, looking at the valley below. The enemy had been defeated, but they knew challenges would come again. Yet for the first time, Ethan felt ready. Humans could face the universe, not just survive, but thrive. Using their courage, creativity, and adaptability. "This is only the beginning," Lyra said, her voice soft but firm. "The galaxy is vast, full of dangers and wonders. But together, humans and my people can face anything." Ethan nodded, feeling a sense of purpose he had never known. He was far from home, in a world filled with unknowns, but he was not powerless. His kind had strengths that could not be measured by size, technology, or raw power. Creativity, courage, determination, they were the true weapons of humanity. As they stood on the cliff, Ethan realized something profound. He was no longer just an explorer. He was the chosen human, the bridge between two civilizations, and a symbol of hope for the future. The scar on his shoulder burned faintly, a reminder of the journey that had brought him here. He had faced the unknown, embraced his destiny, and proven that humans could be extraordinary. Liara touched his hand gently. "You are real," she said, "and the universe will remember what your kind can do." Ethan looked at her, feeling a bond stronger than friendship, stronger than duty. Together, they would face the challenges ahead. Together, they would show the galaxy what humans were capable of. And somewhere deep inside, Ethan knew this was only the first chapter of a story that would echo across the stars. The adventure had begun. But humanity's true strength, its courage. Creativity and heart would guide the way.